Thanks, Dorian. I see it's recording. We are recording now.
And there's Andrew.
Hi, everybody.
Okay, I show 7 o'clock, so let's get started. This meeting is being held in compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act and is open to the media and the public. Notices were duly posted and the meeting was advertised in the Hunterdon County Democrat and Courier News. Formal action may be taken. Can I get a roll call, please?
Anthony Emmons.
Here.
Rob McCallan.
Here.
Andrew Saunders.
Here.
Thomas Wallace.
Here.
Eric Swirling.
Here.
Carol Hampel.
Here.
One is absent.
If we can please stand for the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we have a superintendent's report.
Thank you, Mrs. Hampel. This evening, I'd like to start my superintendent's report as we have for the past several months with a COVID-19 update. I'm just going to share my screen in a moment, and I'm going to share with everyone some slides. And these slides are informational in nature, as I recognize, we have been talking a lot about the activity reports in regard to COVID in most of my communications for the past couple of weeks, as well as I've been sending out communications in regard to using the dashboard as a metric. So this presentation is intended to provide the public, the board, parents with an update on the COVID-19 crisis, the impact on schools, and if you need to, where you could locate more information, particularly information that's useful for us here in the district. So our talking points this evening are going to answer these questions. Where can parents find information? What are the successes we've seen in schools? How does contact tracing work, particularly now that we are in the orange level? And what does the dashboard and the COVID-19 activity report tell us? So let's start quickly with information. If you're wondering where you can find more information, there's a few websites I'd like to tell you to go to. So the first is our district main website. On the front page of the website, we always post the most recent communications from my office, as well as the most recent board presentations. So if you navigate to the home page of the website, you can see the most recent information. However, you might be looking for a letter, a communication, or a presentation that I had previously sent out to the school community. We have a COVID-19 page under the superintendent's corner of the website as well. So if you're looking for archived information, navigate to the superintendent's portion of the website. I sent out a couple of weeks ago a COVID-19 update video. This video was intended to be for parents and for families to give you a glimpse into what a school day may look like in our schools. It showed some protocols for entering and exiting classrooms during instructional time, some pictures, and took last board meeting's board presentation from November and presented it in the video so that the public could have access to it in a more comprehensive way. And then there are two other resources. One is from the New Jersey Department of Health, and it's their dashboard. And this is something that I check daily, and it helps me in monitoring both active cases around the state and our county, as well as school information. And then there's also the weekly activity reports, which are released generally on Thursday afternoons. So this is information that's very useful for you. I'm going to really walk through later on the Department of Health dashboard and the activity reports. So what are some of the successes that we've seen in school? First, statewide, schools have seen really low levels of transmission. Statewide right now, there are 66 total school outbreaks and only 1 from Hunterdon County. A school outbreak, when I show you the dashboard, really is defined as transmission that occurs in schools. So the 66 cases statewide tell us that that means there are 66 cases that were transmitted within a school from one individual to another. 66 statewide, this number has changed recently. Statewide is a huge success for schools, which means our protocols are really working well. Know that there's one case of transmission that occurred in schools in Hunterdon County. This was not Reddington Township School District. It was another school district. I don't know which one, but there was only one case that was actually known to be transmitted within schools. Social distancing and wearing a mask work to prevent transmission. When we do our contact tracing, when I talk about it in a moment, the social distancing 6 feet for less than 15 minutes is really helpful. And then wearing a mask certainly prevents transmission and certainly prevents any kind of prevalence of disease in schools. Our enhanced cleaning protocols have ensured that surfaces are germ-free and as clean as possible. Our Reddington Ready plan was a collaborative effort over the summer and continues to be tweaked throughout the school year and really is a tangible success. Our efforts to bring that together and implement that plan has really shown that we put together a really good plan and it's working. And finally, we've had great consultation and communication with the Department of Health. We have weekly superintendent meetings. If we can't have a formal meeting with the Department of Health, we generally get an update. And then our nurses are in constant contact with the Department of Health nurses, and they've been extremely collaborative with us. Contact tracing. So when contact tracing works in schools, we either get notification from parents of students or from the Department of Health directly. In general, parents usually report to us before the Department of Health gets to us, which allows us to do some contact tracing in schools if needed. Remember though, because we are in the orange level of the activity report, the school is responsible for contact tracing presumptive positive cases, which are cases where we see signs or symptoms of COVID. That's not handled by the Department of Health. That's solely our school nurses and administration. So if we receive notification from parents of a positive case, or if we receive notification of a symptomatic child or staff member, it requires us to do contact tracing. Some of the overview of items that we may collect and the process we may use is to gather class seating charts. We gather bus seating charts. We review student schedules and we interview all of the teachers with whom they saw on a particular day or days. We review the restroom sign-out log to determine what time and what days and how long students were in the bathroom. We interview the positive students or the parents, and generally with a positive case, this is the Department of Health responsibility. If it's a symptomatic case, it's our responsibility. We gather all of the data and we report it to the Department of Health, and we work in collaboration with them. So let me go through some more information with you. The dashboard. So what is this dashboard? What does it tell you? Because you may have thought that that was the thing in your car, but it's not. It's actually something that we use to monitor COVID activity. Here's a sample of the dashboard from, I want to say earlier last week. The dashboard shows cases and trends, or I'm sorry, excuse me, if you click on the cases and trends tab, you'll come up with a screen that looks like this. If you want to see daily new cases statewide, in the bottom right-hand corner, you'll see that there's a little tab called Daily, and this will tell you how many new cases and the transmission rate for that particular day. It also shows cases by county. So you'll see my arrow is actually pointing to Essex County, but we can see here Hunterdon County and the number of cases daily that Hunterdon County experiences. So this breaks it down by total cases across the state each day, as well as county-wide cases. So this is a really helpful report to see what's going on statewide. And generally, I monitor both the new cases daily as well as the transmission rate. I also use the dashboard and navigate to the schools tab. So when I developed this presentation, there were 66 school outbreaks. This has been updated to 70 school outbreaks statewide, as well as 269, and I think this is higher now, numbers of cases linked to school outbreaks. So these two pieces of data tell you two pieces of information. One, school outbreaks tells you how many individual cases were transmitted to at least one other person within schools. And then it tells you, of those school cases, how many were linked to other cases beyond schools. And that's the 269 other cases that are linked outside of the school. And it also gives a county breakdown. And you'll see Hunterdon County has one confirmed outbreak and 3 different cases that are linked to schools. So I monitor this as well on a daily basis. It's not updated as often. I think we're up to 70 right now, school outbreak cases. But again, statewide, this is a tangible success to the disease prevention measures that schools have put in place, and is really something to be celebrated that transmission in schools has been to such a minimum. Second, the COVID-19 activity report. What in the world is Dr. Hartman talking about in his letters to the community for the past couple of weeks? And why is this activity report important? If you navigate to this website, nj.gov, health CDC statistics /COVID, it brings you to all of the COVID activity reports in recent history, back to week 32. To our most recent one, which is week 47. We actually have a week 48 that came out last week on Thursday. The report divides the state into 6 different regions where COVID-19 activity is monitored, and allows for more local metrics. So the first dashboard showed us statewide metrics with county by county metrics. This gives us these region metrics. It has an easy to use color coding, which I'll show you in a minute. And there are 3 indices that make up the full COVID activity score. These are numbers of case rates, percent of COVID-like illness, and percent positive cases. What we do as schools is we launch protocols based on the weekly color code. So if you take a look, this is just a sample report, but you'll see this is back from August 15th. You'll see our region is Central West. Our region was color-coded as yellow. There are 4 color codes: low, which is green; yellow, which is moderate; high, which is orange; and very high, which is red. And you'll see that in this report, we were in fact yellow. Our region is Hunterdon, Mercer, and Somerset counties. So I'm just going to walk you through a little bit of history. Here was our activity report from August 15th. We're yellow. Notice how the Northwest and Northeast region are green. So this shows you how, and they're lower levels. So this shows you how this is more regionalized. The whole state isn't just one color. It can be several different colors. Here's the activity report sample from September 19th. So this was after some schools were open for a period of weeks. Our color code was green, but notice how Central East is yellow. Again, this allows us to isolate certain regions and color code them differently than other regions of the state. Here's the activity report from October 10th, 2020. Color code is yellow across the state. This is the date the entire state turned yellow and remained yellow until November 14th, 2020, where the color code became orange. The majority of the state on November 14th turned orange. By the week of November 21st, the entire state was orange, And at the bottom, it may be hidden on your screen, but you'll see that under Central West, the case rate is red. So that case rate dot is red. The percent CLI, which is COVID-like index, is yellow, and percent positivity is also yellow. So it gives you a final average score of a 3, which puts us in the high or orange range. So the color change in the activity report. What will change as the colors change? So what does orange mean for schools? We've been living in the world of orange now for the past several weeks. The color coding assists schools with our response to COVID. The green and yellow colors have the Department of Health contact tracing only positive cases. Once we moved to orange, the school now, in collaboration with the Department of Health, does contact tracing of presumptive positive cases. Presumptive positive cases are those cases of individuals who exhibit symptoms. So now not only are we concerned about positive cases, we're actually concerned about symptomatic individuals because they are now presumed positive. So for schools, now we follow the high risk level or the orange color in the regional risk matrix. And you'll see highlighted in yellow some of the changes that have occurred. And you'll see the gray arrow that indicates that now, in response to this, a staff or student who's a presumptive COVID or who is a positive COVID-19 case or who has COVID compatible symptoms that's not been yet tested must be excluded from school and should be tested. And others who may have close contact with this symptomatic case must also be excluded from school. In other words, we're treating a symptomatic case as a presumptive positive or a positive case, and we're excluding that case from school as well as any close contacts. So this is a heightened level of precaution that the school is taking now that we're in the orange risk level. So what are the symptoms that we're looking at? First, I want to emphasize that parents should not send students to school when students are sick. For school settings, the Department of Health recommends individuals with the following symptoms be excluded. Any 2 of the following: fever, chills, muscle aches, headache, a sore throat, nausea or vomiting, or abdominal pain, diarrhea, fatigue, congestion, runny nose. So if your child wakes up or a staff member were to wake up with 2 of those symptoms, he or she should not come to school. Or at least 1 of the following symptoms: a cough, shortness of breath, difficulty breathing, new olfactory disorder, or an inability to smell, or an inability to taste. So these are the symptoms that we're contact tracing now in schools. So overall, what does the color red mean? We may turn red. We've been orange for the past couple of weeks. Let's hope that we remain orange because that means we can continue in-person instruction in our hybrid model. But if our region meets the criteria for a red designation on the COVID-19 activity report, the Department of Health recommends implementation of full virtual learning. These reports are published on Thursday afternoons. So I would anticipate that if on a Thursday afternoon I get notified that we have moved into the color red, that Friday would still be a hybrid learning scheduled day, and then fully virtual learning would be implemented at the following Monday. And I should note that I would anticipate doing this to give staff and students and parents and families time to prepare for fully virtual learning. At least it would give you Friday as well as the weekend. In addition, I should mention that the reports come out on Thursday, and they actually represent data from the week prior. So while it seems like this designation to the color red would be an urgent matter, and it certainly is, we would need to implement full virtual learning. Remember, that designation of red is actually a week behind. So if, let's say, for example, and I don't have any indication that we would, if this Thursday we got a report that says we were in the red designation, that means it actually occurred last week. So it at least gives us some time to plan for virtual learning. And I'll take any questions that may come from the board. Okay. So that's my COVID-19 update. So this presentation, like I mentioned in earlier in the presentation, this presentation will be posted on the website for anyone to go back and take a look at. And of course, this board meeting is being recorded. So if you need any information, certainly you could refer back to the board meeting. So that's our COVID-19 update. I'm really hopeful for our students that we can remain open for as long as possible. But as we're seeing post-Thanksgiving, and we'll see post-winter recess what that brings. But my hope is that we can remain some sort of in-person instruction for as long as possible. But of course, health and safety are the rule right now. And if we do move to our designation of red, that would indicate to me that we really need to implement fully virtual learning until our case numbers come down and maybe we move back to orange or even yellow. So let's remain hopeful that we can keep students in school for some period of time. The next item on my superintendent report is regarding the QSAC submission. So NJQSAC stands for the New Jersey Quality Single Accountability Continuum, which is the Department of Education's self-monitoring system of public schools. So it's the DOE's goal to focus on assistance, capacity building, and improvements for school district. So it's a single comprehensive accountability system that consolidates all of the monitoring requirements of all of the state laws and programs and federal requirements all into one monitoring system. This system focuses on monitoring and evaluating school districts in 5 components. The components are instruction and program, fiscal, governance, operations, and personnel. So the document you see attached to agenda item 1.05 is our district self-assessment. So one of the first parts of the processes was for us to convene a committee and score ourselves in all 5 of these areas. You'll see that all scores are above the minimum 80% requirement. So these school scores and supportive evidence will be sent to the state for their review. Once the state completes their review, they may provide us updated scores. So they'll look at our score, they'll look at our evidence, and they'll decide if we meet that criteria, and they will issue a score, a percentage. It could be 100%, like we self-assessed ourselves, or it could be a different percentage, and they'll give us some feedback. And that's what you'll be voting on for agenda item number 1.05. And I'd like to thank the district administrative team and our support staff for their thoughtful and comprehensive work in this process, as well as the QSAC committee, which consisted of the following individuals: Stacy Beagle, our Director of Pupil Services; Jason Boehm, our Business Administrator; Carol Hampel, a board member; Kevin Meyer, a teacher and RTEA President; Linda Reese, a teacher and RTEA Vice President; Sarah Pouch, Supervisor of Math, Science, and Technology; and in addition to Doreen Harris, who's been critical in completing the document upload. So as the committee knows, it was literally hundreds of documents that we've submitted for our self-assessment, and Doreen has been uploading those documents one by one to the state homeroom system. So thank you for all of your time and your effort in putting this together. We're going to submit this, and probably by April or May, we'll hear from the Department of Education regarding their assessment of our scores under QSAC. Moving through my agenda.
Dr. Hart, Eric's with a comment. Could you just explain why the county scores are what they are versus our scores? I mean, what are they assessing those scores?
So what they do is they'll walk through and they'll assess each individual criteria. So the members of the committee know that there's a handbook and a criteria of all of the different types of compliance efforts that school districts need to go through. One of the criteria, for example, is that we're in compliance with all of the state evaluation systems, right? That we evaluate our teachers and evaluate our staff members in compliance with all of the state laws. So we take evidence examples, our evaluation rubrics, we take our evaluation schedules, we take the fact that we do co-observations, we do observation training, and we upload it all to the state. They review all of our evidence and they determine if our evidence is substantial enough to award all of the points to us for that particular indicator, or if they want to award partial points for that particular indicator. So what we did is we uploaded all of the documentation and we graded ourselves on each individual indicator and awarded ourselves points. It's kind of like, let's try for the points and let's see if the state will accept our assessment of our points. And then the state does the monitoring of all of the evidence that we uploaded, and they determine whether or not our evidence was substantial enough to support the score that we provided, or if they want to assign a different score.
Now, what I mean is there's another column, a separate column for county schools. Why are those 0 versus our numbers? Is it them assessing us? Is it us assessing them? What does that column represent?
That column represents the fact that they haven't done it yet. So they haven't had a chance. That we're uploading everything. We have to board approve our submission of our scores before they'll assign their scores. So our scores, our self-assessment scores, are the ones that you see in the attachment. The state scores are a 0 because they haven't done their self-assessment or their assessment of us yet. We've only completed the self-assessment part.
Oh, then maybe for the purposes now, it might just say NA would be more instructive, just not available at this point, not 0, because that might mean, okay.
Yeah, that's all. It's just an NA basically at this point. The state is very particular. I mean, that spreadsheet that you see has pivot tables and things like that you have to fill in. So I didn't want to mess with their formulas that they put in their spreadsheet. So I just left it at 0 for them, but they will be filled in at a later date. And I will come back and report to the board in the spring of the score that they have assigned to us. So
thank you for the clarification.
You're very welcome. Moving through the U.S. Green Building Council. So Reddington Middle School has been awarded a $1,000 grant from the U.S. Green Building Council, noted on agenda item 4.03. The purpose of the grant is to promote the Building Learners Program, which prepares for authentic student engagement and data-driven sustainability improvements. So simply put, students select a sustainability performance metric such as energy, waste, water, or air quality, and they conduct research. So their research will include analyzing data, proposing a solution, and implementing an action project to improve sustainability. So this project will be guided by Betsy Freeman, our coordinator of green initiatives. And I don't know if Betsy joined us tonight, but we're very proud that we got this grant, and we look forward to our students engaging in some research in regard to sustainability for looking toward real world authentic sustainability improvement. It's a great accomplishment. Very, very nice. I don't see Betsy here. Yeah, congratulations. And finally, we're going to recognize Robin as well as Ray Egbert tonight. We have 2 board members who will be leaving us. Robin has served on the board since January 2018. She's finishing her 3rd year this coming January 2021. She served as the chair of the Policy Communications Committee, and she also served on the District Green Committee and the Technology Committee. Robin was also a trustee for the Garden State Coalition of Schools for 2019 and 2020, where she attends meetings relating to education advocacy. Robin is also a school counselor in another school district, so her firsthand knowledge and her insight into the world of education has been most valuable on the Board of Education. Robin, thank you so much for your service, and you will certainly be missed. We also have Ray Egbert leaving us tonight. Ray was appointed to the board through an interview process in May of 2013. Putting himself into a very public debate on dress code for the 8th grade dance, if some of the board members may recall that very meeting. Mr. Egbert ran successfully to continue his term for another year with a very high popular vote percentage, unheard of, really. Mr. Egbert subsequently won multiple public elections thereafter, and he's been serving on the board up until December 5th when he submitted his resignation. Ray Egbert has served on the following committees: Personnel, Finance and Facilities, Negotiations, and a Shared Services Committee, which is no longer in existence. He was the chair of Finance and Facilities Committee for numerous years and through this current fiscal year. Ray has also represented the board on other subcommittees like a New Jersey School Board's delegate and an HSA representative. Ray has been on the board for many years, and we'd like to thank him for his service to the board and the students of Reddington. So thank you, Ray. I don't know if you're here, but thank you so much for your service as well.
Thank you.
And finally, I would just like to wish the public and the board and the staff and our students and administration a happy holiday and a very restful winter recess, which is coming up soon. Very well deserved. So let's have a wonderful winter holiday and recess. And Mrs. Hample, that concludes my superintendent's report. If there's any questions from the board.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Hart. I'd like to ditto your comments on Robin's time. She was instrumental. She ran with me 3 years ago, and it's been a great experience for us so far. And to Ray, I mean, he was a long timer, so he will be sorely missed. Am I echoing?
No.
Yes, I'm getting an echo from you.
Okay, I'm at my son's desk, so I apologize to his teachers in advance.
Carol, we're going to turn, so both Jason and I are in the boardroom tonight trying out a little bit of a different protocol, and you could be echoing because it's louder in here. So we're going to try to turn it down a little bit and see if that helps.
Okay.
Better?
Do you want me to test talk?
Is that
Okay.
a little bit? Yeah.
Is that better? Okay. Okay, we are now open to the public, limited to action items on the agenda.
If you would like to ask a question, please remember to unmute yourself, or you can put your question in the chat box and it will be read aloud.
This is Eric, and though the public's not speaking up at the moment, I'd like to just say that I will really miss the contribution of both Robin and Ray. Their unique contributions to the board will be sorely missed. I can't tell you how much both of them have contributed to the over the years to the board. Ray's contributions to the financial subcommittee, I'm not sure how they will be replaced. And Robin's, from her perspective, the contributions she made, you will both be sorely missed. And I, as one, wish you all the best in all of your endeavors from here on.
Agreed. Okay, moving on, we had one correspondence and email regarding the reopening of schools. Next item is our administrative reports. Can I get a motion to adopt 1.01 through 1.06?
So moved, Tom.
Second, Carolyn.
And a roll call, please.
Anthony Emmons,
Yes.
Rob McCallen,
Yes.
Carolyn Bogorski,
Yes.
Andrew Saunders,
Yes.
Thomas Wallace,
Yes.
Eric Zwirling,
Yes.
Carol Hample.
Yes.
Passes.
Okay, next is the minutes. Can I get a motion to adopt 2.01 through 2.02?
So moved, Tom.
Second, Carolyn.
Can I get a roll call, please?
Anthony Emmons,
Yes.
Rob McCallen,
Yes.
Carolyn Bogorski,
Yes.
Andrew Saunders,
Yes.
Thomas Wallace,
Yes.
Eric Zwirling,
Yes.
Carol Hample.
Yes.
Passes.
Okay, moving on to finance and facilities. We have a committee report.
Yes, we do. Give me 1 second. Okay, the committee met on Friday, December 4th, discussed multiple areas. First, capital projects. The Three Bridges School boiler project and Reddington Middle School roof projects are complete. Applications for the Securing Our Children's Future Bond Act grant is still being processed. Other maintenance and IT projects are being completed per the priority list. The POTS lines are being installed. The Reddington Middle School emergency walkway paving project will begin soon. The wireless backup for fire, building alarms projects will begin soon in each school. Painting projects are continuing, specifically with Reddington Middle School locker rooms, Three Bridges School music room, and White House School stairwells. The Reddington Middle School well E. coli update. The district is awaiting the New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection technical review. Once final review is completed, the work can begin. Upcoming bids, architect bids can begin once the board is approved. Current architect will stay on to finalize current projects. The summer capital projects will be smaller due to the timing of hiring a new architect. The committee is recommending board approval to begin the bid process of a new architect. The food service bidding process will begin in early spring. Budget update. The district is having to revise the FEMA reimbursement request. FEMA has curtailed allowable reimbursement items, including any plexiglass purchases. FEMA is basically reimbursing only PPE items, masks and hand sanitizer, and COVID-related cleaning supplies. The approximate request is now $34,000 versus the original request of $120,000. The district received an additional $4,392 from the CARES grant. These additional funds are expected to be used directly for remote instruction improvements. The district is closely monitoring the additional cost related to the new state health care plan. The current additional cost to the district is approximately $163,000 and is expected to increase. The largest increase related to the portion of insurance premiums paid by the district for new hires, long-term substitutes, and paraprofessionals registering for the new plan. Legal updates include the NJ EHP amendment was passed. School audits for 2019-20 due date is extended to January 31st, 2021. And the school surpluses increased to 4%. The state is experiencing unemployment fraud. The district is assisting the state to monitor unemployment requests within the district. The current district COVID cost is remaining steady and is currently approximately $122,000. The committee was notified of 2 business office retirements. Finance agenda items. The finance agenda items are normal in nature, other than what is listed below. The committee recommending approval for all. That's the IDEA amendment, the non-resident staff tuition, local grant awards. Bills list is normal in nature. The next meeting is planned for January 13th, 2021. That's all.
Thank you, Tom. Can I get a motion to adopt 3.01 to 3.07?
So moved. Tom.
Second, Robin.
Can I get a roll call?
Anthony Emmons,
Yes.
Robin McCaleb,
Yes.
Carolyn Jaworski,
Yes.
Andrew Saunders,
Yes.
Thomas Wallace,
Yes.
Eric Swirling.
Yes, I just had one quick question for Tom. Tom, you mentioned the POTS lines. Could you please remind me what those are?
Jason.
So our phone system operates on an IP base, it's internet based. So the district, as we reside in Hardin County, has power outages. And we do have a battery backup system that allows us to continue use of phone and phone systems. But another unique aspect of Hunterdon County is that there's poor cell service. So to have another level of redundancy, we are installing what are POTS lines, which are ancient technology of a hard line that runs into the school building from power lines, in essence, that allows us to have a physical phone that is connected to a wire that will operate if the power goes out for extended periods of time. So it's a backup to a backup to a backup. and it's relatively inexpensive, but we have run into issues where power has been out for several hours, and there could be instances where students are remaining in the building or parents can't get home quickly enough. So it's just it's an extra safety precaution that we wanted to undertake moving forward.
That's great. Thanks for the answer and kudos for doing it.
And Carol Hampel for vote.
Yes. Yes.
Passes.
Okay. Moving on to education technology, we have a committee report.
Yep. Let's see. Okay, so the committee met on November 30th at 8:30. Started with middle school math updates. iReady is now being used at RMS. Previously, it was just K through 5. The first diagnostic shows 50% of students are at or above grade level. The Algebra 2 students have moved on to IXL because they have kind of outpaced or finished the iReady content. The math iReady diagnostic overall, we showed improvement over last year, even with the interruption in instruction. Guidance has been provided separately that snow days can actually be made up for by using virtual learning days. However, we are still in discussion as to whether that would change our school calendar. Dr. Hart is working through and working with some of the art teachers at RMS to have kids redesign our district logo. And then we did bring back some special education students November 30th. This was a group that was prioritized because of they fall into groups that have behavior plans and needed closer instruction. We are reviewing the district website to see if there needs to be formatting changes there. That would bring us into alignment with several of the surrounding districts. For technology, GoGuardian, this is a software that features filtering and device monitoring and keyword search alerts. So our tech is looking into that. And then for iPads, they were distributed in the last few weeks. We'll be transitioning away from Chromebooks, and the existing Chromebooks will be redistributed into classrooms. There are several texts that I believe are on tonight's agenda for approval for both, for actually 8th grade, and then there's some additional text as well. As far as the CUSAC resolution that Dr. Hart mentioned, a self-assessment was completed showing compliance in all areas of instruction. And our next meeting will be on Monday, January 11th at 8:30 in the morning.
Okay, thank you, Andy. Can I get a motion to adopt 4.01 through 4.06?
So moved, Tom.
Second, Carolyn.
Can I ask a question first? Andrew, I just want to find, you said that we're looking at the formatting the district's website to bring it into alignment with adjacent districts. Could you please expand upon that a little bit? I mean, is it that is it a technological requirement? Is it a legal requirement? I mean, what are we doing here?
Yeah, I'll pass that to Dr. Hart.
No problem.
Yeah, more depth.
Yeah, I'll certainly take it. So it's a little bit of both, Eric. I would say first and foremost, when we think about, kind of our gateway and reaching out to the school community and the greater community, right, in all of Reddington Township, our website really speaks to who we are, right? So in an effort to provide an updated look, maybe a more appealing aesthetic to the website, we're looking at using another template to update it to look like other websites, more pictures, some things that are more visually appealing. The second part is content. There's, in my personal opinion, I suppose, in the time that I've been here as superintendent, there seems to be some places where it may not be intuitive, where you would visit for some specific content. And we're making an effort to create some consistency, not only among the district website, but among all of the school websites to ensure that there's consistent, coherent information that's easily attainable on the website. And then the third part, like you said, or even it's not a technological issue. So I believe we're still going to stay with Blackboard, but they have other templates we can update to. So we're not having technology issues with Blackboard, but there will be some other updates to the website that could include accessibility services that we could provide if we do some cleanup of content, so that we could potentially translate into other languages, provide different types of fonts for those who may be visually impaired, and other things like that. So right now, it's a kind of a combination of all things, just improving the aesthetic, cleaning up the content, and then to become a more compliant with becoming an accessible website to those with disabilities.
Thank you. It needs it. Thank you very, very much.
You're very welcome.
I think I heard Carolyn second. Is that correct?
I think that was Robin. I thought it was Robin, but
Robin?
correct me.
Okay.
No.
Okay, can we get a roll call, please?
Anthony Emmons,
Yes.
Robin McCallum,
Yes.
Carolyn Podorski,
Yes.
Andrew,
Yes.
Thomas Wallace,
Yes.
Eric Swirling,
Yes.
Carol Hampel,
Yes.
passes.
Okay. Moving on to personnel, we have a committee report.
Yes, we do. So the Personnel Committee met on December 4th. We discussed staffing for the current year and next year as well. We talked about the COVID-19 activity reports and dashboard. We discussed the enrollment and housing developments progress. We discussed snow days and whether how we're going to handle them. The suggestion was the first snow day should be a true snow day so the kids can go out and play, and then the rest will be virtual. We talked about the CUSAC resolution, additional personnel matters, board goals, 2 board goals, and we talked about the agenda items that we're talking about today, the CUSAC resolution, approval of subs, retirements, resignations, club approvals. And we scheduled the next meeting for January 13th at 10 o'clock.
Thank you, Carolyn. Can I get a motion to adopt 5.01 through 5.07?
So moved.
So moved,
Who made the motion? Second. Okay, so Carolyn and Robin. Can I get a roll call, please?
Anthony Emmons,
Yes.
Robin McCallum,
Yes.
Carolyn Podorski,
Yes.
Andrew Saunders,
Yes.
Thomas Wallace,
Yes.
Eric Swirling,
Yes.
Carol Hampel,
Yes.
passes.
Mrs. Hampel, if I could I just highlight one thing under the personnel report that that we just read, which was about snow days. So between Ed Tech, where we started talking about snow days, and personnel, where we ended up kind of concluding a recommendation about snow days, I just wanted to point out that, you know, our students have really lost a lot of what's special about school this year. So even though we can use virtual learning days to make up snow days, our thought was the first snow day to really be a true snow day. Everybody take the day off, go and play in the snow, have some hot chocolate, and enjoy the day, because I think our kids and our teachers really need that. And then the second part of that is really about the teachers and planning for virtual instruction. We thought it would give the teachers an opportunity to see how a snow day, potentially even an early morning call, would impact their family situation. So it would allow them an opportunity to observe some of the unexpected events that may result, you know, with a snow day in their own household. In essentially giving them a dry run. You know, if I had to teach today virtually with my kids home and snow falling and do I have a power outage, would I be able to do it? And I wouldn't be able to get to school because the roads are bad to pick up any materials. So for teachers to be prepared, you know, so we wanted to kind of give those 2 opportunities, really, for the kids and the teachers to have a day off and really enjoy a day with their families and playing in the snow, but also to kind of do a dry run. So I don't know when our first snow is going to come and when the weather is going to turn bad, but I plan on communicating that soon to families and teachers.
Thank you for clarifying the reasoning.
Yeah, no problem. I just wanted to make sure we know because the committee reports were just slightly different.
Okay, moving on to communication, we have a committee report.
Yes, we do. Let me grab it. Committee met on November the 24th at 3:30. We finished policy alert 221. Policy 2464 on gifted and talented included a pupil grievance protocol, covered GNT, Department of Education annual report. We already have a policy on our website. Stacy reviewed and said we are already in compliance. This is a mandated policy. Policy and regulation 5330.05, a seizure action plan. This is a brand new policy. I have Stacy review our current practice. This included notification for drivers as to what conditions may be on their bus, as well as a good faith clause. This is also a mandated policy and regulation. Policy 7510, use of school facilities. Emergency information needs to be given to groups that are using our facilities. We discussed policy and regulation 2361, acceptable use of network computers and resources, and the GoGuardian software discussion of filter usage and notification of questionable material. We're going to have this reviewed by our counseling staff as well as our district lawyer. Garden State Coalition update from the October 28th meeting. Topics included SEL during COVID, student-led SEL clubs and organizations, NJ Pride, which is an organization dedicated to recruitment of diverse teaching staff, and Pure Edge SEL provided for staff and administration. Tentative topics for press releases for the next couple months, and the next meeting is to be determined.
Okay, thank you, Robin, for your final committee report. Can I get a motion to adopt 6.01?
So moved, Tom.
Second, Robin.
Can I get a roll call, please?
Anthony Emmons,
Yes.
Robin McCallan,
Yes.
Alan Pogorski,
Yes.
Andrew Saunders,
Yes.
Thomas Wallace,
Yes.
Eric Swirling,
Yes.
Carol Hample.
Yes.
Passes.
Okay. Do we have any old business? Okay. New business from the board. Hopefully everyone had a chance to review the board meeting dates for 2021. If there's any issues with the dates, let us know. Next item is the board vacancy from Ray Egbert. So the appointment process, so tomorrow we will advertise for an open position on the board, accepting resumes and letters of intent. There will be a closing date from that. Our hope is to have interviews on our next board meeting at the reorg meeting, which would be January 5th, and have a special 5 o'clock meeting to interview candidates as we did in November. So the same process. We encourage anyone who came out last month and interviewed, we encourage you to resubmit your intent. We had a lot of strong candidates and there was only one position. So please consider reapplying. Our intent of having this happen by January 5th is so that they will be part of the reorg meeting and hear our attorney, Mr. Fogarty's presentation on ethics.
Carol, so when would the January 5th meeting start? What time?
Our our hope would be to start it at 5 o'clock as we did the last time for interviews before the open public session at 7.
And that's just for the one vacancy, not the two? Okay.
Well, right, just the one, because we have a new candidate who will be replacing Robin, who was elected in Beth Fiore.
Oh, I see. Got it. Thank you.
Okay. Is there any other new business from the board? Okay, we are now open to the public for items on or off the agenda. You can either unmute your phone or you can speak into the chat.
Still nothing in chat at this time, so.
Okay. All right, so at this time, I will need a motion to adjourn to executive session in accordance with the Sunshine Law to discuss HIB and legal matters for approximately 30 minutes, at which time the board expects to return to public session where action shall not be taken. The matters discussed will be made public if and when the circumstances requiring confidentiality no longer exist. However, it is not presently known when such circumstances will exist. Can I get a motion?
So moved, Tom.
Second, Andy.
Roll call, please.
Anthony Emmons,
Yes.
Robin McCaleb,
Yes.
Carolyn Pogorski,
Oops. Yes.
Andrew Saunders,
Yes.
Thomas Wallace,
Yes.
Eric Zorling,
Yes.
Carol Hample.
Yes.
A friendly reminder that for executive session, we have a separate meeting link. You must sign off of this public meeting link. We will return to a public session after we are done in executive.
Thank you, Jason.
Thank you.
See you in
Okay.
executive.
See you there.
We're still on.
I sent you a summary of my,
Yeah, so,
okay.
thank you.